So unfortunately, our run is over. If you're on an SMMA, if you're on an agency, or you advertise for maybe your own stores, or obviously for clients or anything like that, our run is over, guys. I hate to break it to you, but honestly, like, this company here, it's a little company, made this phone, probably made the product that you're watching this video on right now. It's a little company called Apple, and they've basically put a stop to advertising. And yeah, as I say, if you run an agency, like for me now, like the agency that I run, Bax Consulting, very, very successful agency, but it's over. You know, it's over. If you run an agency or marketing agency, that is, unfortunately, it's over. You know, us as advertisers cannot advertise anymore because, as I say, Apple has put an end to advertising itself. And yeah, if you're an advertising agency, getting results now for clients is impossible. I'll say it outright. It's impossible to get results for clients, which obviously means that they're not going to pay you. So, you know, basically the business model is over, guys. Let me reframe, actually. Let me go back a little bit. Maybe I said that quite wrong. What I meant to say was that running ads, the way that we used to go about running ads, the way that we used to advertise is over. But that doesn't mean to say that advertising overall is over. Guys, I know maybe it's a bit cringy, maybe my acting skills aren't that great, but basically in this video, I'm gonna be going through iOS 14, what's happening, what's going on with it. And I'm also gonna be giving you a kind of step-by-step actionable process and steps to implement into your agency in order to go about tracking better and really just overall combat the strategy as best as we can right now. This video that you're watching right now is going to be the only video that you need to consume on iOS 14 at the current stage. I'm going to be updating you. I'm going to be doing probably a myriad of videos over the course of the next couple months on the topic of iOS 14, and the reason being is because, you know, there's a lot of new stuff being rolled out. Facebook themselves kind of don't really know what's going on. You know, so there's a lot of stuff being rolled out. Probably as I'm speaking right now, going to the ads manager, something else has changed. You know, that's what it seems like over the past couple days. So I'm going to be doing a lot of videos, but as of right now, I'm in this video, I'm basically going to be detailing exactly what we're doing at Bax Consulting, exactly the things that I'm telling my 400 plus students to do and implement and all that type of stuff. And yeah, I'm basically going to be laying it out in this video. As I say, it's going to be one of the most actionable videos that you actually watch on iOS 14. A lot of the other videos that I've seen on iOS 14 are just more like telling you about it, and you watch and you're like, well, okay, yes, I know that now tracking isn't going to be as good or whatever, but what do I do, right? That's how I felt after watching a lot of those videos. I probably feel as though you guys feel the same. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to, you know, not only remedy the situation, but also have some combative strategies that are actually going to help propel you and your client results during iOS 14. Now, with that being said, just before we jump into the video, make sure you go ahead and take a split second to smash the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. I apologize if I made you feel a little bit scared before at the start of the video. I apologize, but please forgive me and smash that like button. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel. Guys, over the last couple days, I've had some real long nights and some real early mornings, as you can probably tell by my eyes. Like, I've got huge bags in my eyes. I'm very tired. But as I say, it's really been all about iOS 14, what we're doing for clients, what we're doing for the own agency itself. You know, we got a lot of clients spending multiple thousands a day, and, you know, they're in all different e-com verticals, info products, stuff of that nature. And, you know, we need to come up with a strategy, and I think we finally cracked the code. And as I say, I'm going to be giving it away in this video. So just make sure you go ahead, smash that like button. So with that being said, let's finally jump straight into the video. So iOS 14 ATT, what is it? Now, guys, I do want to quickly mention, okay, I'm not going to delve too much into iOS 14 and like what it is and all that type of stuff, right? Reason being is, number one, I'm sure you've heard the explanation a myriad of times, right? You've heard it, everybody's talking about it. I'm sure you know what it is, you know, what's happening and whatnot. And number two, knowing what it is isn't half as important as knowing how to combat it. And that's really my main goal in this video. You know, as I said to you before, I've had some very, very long days recently. Today, currently, it's 2:30 4:30. I've been up since 5:30, and literally it's been on iOS 14, right? Like, I've had some very, very long days, and we finally come up with a combative strategy as of right now for the issue. And as I say, I really want to outline what that is in this video, and really that's the main goal of the video. However, let me, if for the 4 or 5 of you watching this video and you don't know what iOS 14 is, or really the kind of the understanding behind it, let me just quickly outline it for you. So iOS 14 ATT. So I'm sure you're probably thinking, what's ATT stand for? Well, ATT stands for App Tracking Transparency. And essentially, this is a motion that Apple are forcing all marketing platforms to abide by. Now, this is Tim Cook. He's the CEO of Apple, and this is something that he said on Twitter. Now, take what you will. I'm sure you can put the dots together about what I'm implying here. I'm not going to say it. Don't want to throw any shade on anybody, but yeah. This is what he said, okay? We believe users should have the choice over the data that is being collected about them and how it's used. Facebook can continue to track users across apps and websites as before. App tracking transparency in iOS 14 will just require that they ask for your permission first. You take what you want from that. If you know what I'm trying to get at here, then if you know, as the saying goes. But anyway, that's what Tim Cook said. I'm not going to touch any more on that. So basically, what is now going to happen with iOS 14 is that, when you go onto a website, when you click a Facebook ad from Facebook, then you're going to get this notification here, which basically says, allow Facebook to track your activity across other companies' apps and websites. And then you're going to have 2 options. You can either allow it, or you can ask app not to track. Similar to location, when you go into it says that, can use your location or whatever, and you've got an option. It's a similar thing. Now, the issue at the moment is we don't know what percentage of people are going to allow and what percentage of people are going to ask app not to track. We don't really know. I think it's going to be hefty in terms of, I think it's going to be split down the middle, slightly going one way or the other. I personally think. But even so, if it's split down the middle, slightly going one way or the other, that's a lot of people who now we can't track. That's the issue, right? So just before I get into kind of explaining a lot more things in detail and kind of combative strategies and whatnot, let me just quickly explain what cookies are and the 2 types, right? There's 2 types of cookies, and I want to explain it because it's going to help us understand the following section here in a minute. So this is going to be a very, 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 very basic overview of what cookies are, but it's all you really need to understand in order to get what I'm about to go into here in a minute. So first party and third party cookies, they're the 2 types. And first party cookies are owned by the site owner, right? The first party. So for example, if the site is hosted on Shopify, then Shopify themselves would inject a bunch of first party cookies, obviously in which they own. Now, however, on the flip side, third-party cookies are owned by sites like Facebook, Google, and various other third-party sites. So obviously, guys, it goes a lot more technical. I'm not going to go into the technical aspects of it, partly because I'm not technical whatsoever, okay, as a person. And the other part is just because you don't need to understand the technicalities of it all. You just need to understand the broad concept. So let's have a look at this situation. Let's do a bit of role-playing here and walk through this situation that's really a real-life situation, to be honest. So someone's on Facebook, right? You're on Facebook. There's just some user on Facebook, whoever it is. Somebody is on Facebook, and that person who's on Facebook sees an ad that they like and it intrigues them, which obviously, is our job as advertisers. Now, I understand there may be quite a lot of people watching this video who are e-com owners themselves. They've got their own businesses and they're looking at running ads. You may be looking at running how to run ads yourself or whatever it is. But majority of my demographic is agency owners, social media marketing agency owners. So our job as advertisers is to, make ads that intrigue the ideal customer. So let's say in this example that we've done our job properly and somebody sees an ad that we've served them and it intrigues them, and they are our ideal customer. So from there, obviously that person then clicks the ad which intrigued them. Now, at the point they click, Facebook is going to send through a bunch of data, right? Data ranging from things like, UTM parameters and things like, Facebook account ID, Facebook click ID, and a bunch of other kind of numbers and information, all that type of stuff, right? Stuff that's not overly important to deeply understand. And in addition to that, once the customer or the user at that point, not a customer, once the user lands on the website, thanks to something called JavaScript, this is now when when all those cookies get loaded that I was referring to before, right? Specifically the trackers and the pixels, etc., right? Obviously there's a lot, both first and third party cookies get launched. As I said before, things like Shopify, that's how the website gets shown and gets launched and whatnot. But also those third party cookies get launched at the point the user hits the website, and they hit the website as soon as they click the ad, okay? Bear in mind, this is the old way. This is how things have always operated with Facebook and advertising and all this type of stuff. So now what these trackers that have just been launched, right, just been loaded, now what these trackers are going to do at the point at which they are loaded is they're essentially going to watch what the user is doing. Okay, they're gonna watch what the user is doing. They're gonna watch, their movements, right? That's basically what they're doing. They're monitoring the movements of the user. As you can see on the screen here, wherever they go, wherever they're moving around on the website, thanks to these third-party cookies, we are able to watch what they're doing and track it. And so, we can basically see, are they adding to cart? Are they, initiating checkout? Are they purchasing? Are they viewing content, right? In other words, are they clicking on specific products, having a look? And also, what products are they? Okay, we can track all this stuff thanks to third-party cookies. Now, what is going to happen at the point at which the cookies and whatnot are looking and watching what's going on? This is when the trackers are going to send all of that information in regards to what actions the user took. They're going to get all that information and they're going to send it directly back to Facebook themselves. And so now that Facebook has received that information in regards to the actions that the specific user took on the website, they can now match those actions with that same user on the Facebook platform, which is where we can now run a retargeting ad to that specific same user, where we can basically now tell that user, look, go back to the website, buy that product which you added to cart. I know you're interested, so why don't you go ahead and complete that purchase, right? That's basically the basis of a retargeting ad. Now that's what's happened. That's the process from a very, 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 very basic standpoint. If you're very, very technical, you may be pulling your hair out listening to me speak about this. Don't hit me up in the comments, tell me about it. I know it's very basic, but that's really kind of, as I say, from a very broad overview, kind of how things have always worked. Now what happens if somebody selects, the Ask App Not to Track, right? This section right here, this little pop-up, right, that Tim Cook posted on his Twitter, this little pop-up, this little notification is going to show when the person clicks the ad, right? So this person sees the ad, then they click the ad, and before they get to the website, they're going to see this notification, which is going to occur in this instance right here. And so they have two options: allow, which is basically then when things go back to normal, just as this process is right here. It's just, that's it. But again, we don't know how many, we don't know what the percentage is of people who are going to click Ask App Not to Track, but certain people are. And so what's going to happen if they do end up clicking Ask App Not to Track? Well, to be honest, first things first, everything is going to be the exact same, right? Like, that's the first thing you need to realize. Everything is going to be exactly the same. All the data being passed around, all the data being tracked, the customer freely moving around, taking the actions that they want to take, all that different type of stuff is going to be exactly the same. However, the issue lies in this data not being passed back to Facebook. So even though all the data is still there and it's all been tracked, if the user has selected do not track me, right, then Facebook will simply not be able to accept that data when it tries to get passed back to them. They won't be able to accept it. It's kind of like, somebody being in prison and somebody being on the outside of prison, right? Like, they can see the free world, they can see outside of it, but they can't get outside of it, right? They can't reach it. They're blocked. There's, bars there, right? It's the same thing here. Facebook can kind of, technically they can't see the information, but you get my point. Facebook can see that the information's there, but because that specific user has selected, do not track me, Facebook can't, guys, I can't accept the information. And so that is where the issue lies, okay? It can't be passed back to Facebook. And so what that means is that Facebook now can't match the actions taken by this user. They can't match that those actions with the specific user inside of Facebook, which is gonna it's gonna harm retargeting. It's also gonna harm tracking, okay? Because if that person then goes ahead and purchases, well, because they can't have certain information being passed back and whatnot, it's gonna harm tracking, and it's also gonna harm the ad algorithm as well, because Facebook can't be, the reason Facebook's ad algorithm is so short strong is because of machine learning, right? It's collating all this data. It's learning about each and every single user on their platform. One user, it can have just thousands and thousands of touch points on that one user. You then times that one user by billions of users. That's when Facebook's machine learning becomes so effective, right? Because it can understand, okay, this person has gone to all of these different sites, right? So I reckon, and this is what, Facebook basically says, obviously they don't speak like this, but you get the point. Facebook would be like, okay, after looking at all these different sites this user's gone to, all the purchases it's made, all the actions it's taken, I reckon this person's gonna like X, Y, and Z, meaning interest, right? Interest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then when you times that by billions of users, those interests really fill up. And so that's when, when you go into Facebook yourself, you put in the interest camping, for example, then you know that everybody inside that interest, thanks to Facebook's machine learning and ad algorithm and whatnot, a lot of, almost everybody in that camping interest is going to like camping. So then you can run products to that interest with a very high probability that, if the product and the interest are associated, it's going to convert. It's got a very, very good chance of converting. So now, that's going to be an issue because Facebook can't really see what people like. And also, so that's going to harm obviously targeting and whatnot. And it's also going to harm tracking as well because it can't see what the actions are which are being taken, right? So again, as I mentioned before, understanding from a very, very technical level, iOS 14, the impact it's going to have, all this different type of stuff, it's important. But to me, the most important thing is knowing the changes that are occurring and how we go about combating that specific situation and those specific changes. So on the topic, right, perfect segue, let's have a look at what the changes are that are occurring and how we combat each situation. So the first things first, the first big change, and there's obviously a bunch of smaller changes, by the way, guys. I just want to go through the main ones. So first things first is event limits. So now you're basically going to be limited to the use of 8 conversion events per domain. Okay, so per domain, the 8 conversion events, as you can see that by that second bullet point there, the 8 conversion events per domain will be ranked based on priority, right? So if multiple events are completed by a user, for example, add to cart and purchase, only the higher prioritized event will be reported. So again, you're gonna have a lack of reporting, and it's going to put limits on what we can do now, basically. However, for e-commerce, to be honest, this section, it doesn't really matter, right? Event limits, yeah, whatever, you can only use 8. We don't really use much more than 8 anyway, because one thing to remember and one thing to know is that all the metrics inside of Facebook itself, so CPM, right, cost per 1,000 impressions, CTR, right, what's the percentage of people who see the ad and click through to the website, cost per click. So all these metrics that are basically within Facebook itself, they're all still going to be tracked because that's on Facebook itself. Nobody can come into there and tell Facebook to stop tracking on their own on their own platform. It's just what happens when it gets outside, right? But outside of it, really, outside of the Facebook itself, you only really need 8 conversion events, right? We're going with purchase, view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and lead. That's kind of the main ones that we're using at the moment. So bear in mind, you're probably thinking, Kai, that's 5. What are you talking about? Basically, with purchase, there's 4 of them, right? So you got purchases, you got purchase conversion value, ROAS, whatnot. So that makes up 4. And then you got the other 4 is view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and lead. Okay. So if you're in ecom, highly recommend those are the 8 conversion events that you use. Now, the next thing, and this is probably one of the bigger ones, is the measurement. So this ties in with ad reporting. Okay, so 28-day click-through, 28-day view-through, 7-day view-through attribution windows will not be supported. However, historical data for these windows will remain accessible via the Ads Insights API. So what that basically means with the historical side of it, you can still see lifetime view of numbers and whatnot. But however, moving forward, the only options that you're going to have is 7-day click-through or 1-day view. So what that basically means is that sales cycles now are going to be imperative. Shortening the sales cycle of your client's ideal customer, or you yourself, if you're running your own ads, whatever it is, shortening that sales cycle is going to be vital, because now technically you've only got 7 days to do it, whereas before you had 28 days to get a purchase come through. Now it's only 7, right? as I say, it's not a very technical way to put it, but you get the point. And I'm actually going to show you at the end of this video, I'm going to walk through a way to really go about shortening down that sales cycle. It's a no-brainer way, and if you implement it, it is going to help you shorten that sales cycle down. But just know that's something that you really need to focus on now. It's going to be slightly more difficult for higher price products, you know, for like info products and whatnot. If you've got a 5-10K program, it's going to be very hard to convert somebody inside of 7 days. And so that's where the issues are going to come in potentially. However, let's have a look at some actions for you to take right now. These are some very, very actionable insights in terms of things that you can do right now. And I'm about to walk you through the exact kind of custom way that we're going about tracking moving forward for all clients. I'm going to show that here in a minute, but just quickly, first things first, I'm sure you've probably heard of a couple of these combative strategies already. Number one is to verify your business domain. So the reason you need to verify your domain is so that Facebook can see your client or yourself. Majority, again, as I said before, majority of you watching this video are going to have clients, you're going to have an agency. So as I say, one of the main reasons for verifying your domain is so that Facebook can see your client owns and is in control of that domain, meaning they're in control of what gets shown on the website and the content published on said website. Now, in order to verify your domain, go to business settings, brand safety, domains, and use the article in the description to help guide you through the process. Quickly want to put a note on that. In the description of the video, you're going to see a myriad of articles, resources, letters written about iOS 14. That's all of the content that I've consumed on iOS 14. It's where a lot of this information in this video is stemming from. It's from some of the top leaders in the advertising space. And that's why I said before as well, it's one of the only videos you really need to use as a resource, because in this video resource itself, there's a myriad of other resources that are massively going to help understand the situation more, and also strategies. However, majority of strategies in this video that I'm going to go through are the ones that everybody's using, because right now you're limited to what we can do because Facebook themselves, as I say, haven't brought out everything that they're going to bring out. So there's only so much we can do. However, let's continue with some more actionable strategies to implement. Next thing is select your 8 conversion events, as we've already spoke about: view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, lead, and purchase. Next thing is Facebook Conversion API, CAPI. So you can actually set this up directly into Shopify or with the use of Google Tag Manager. Now, I will say Google Tag Manager is a lot more complex, so you need to do it directly into Shopify. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to help track UTMs more accurately within Shopify. And actually, in order to track UTMs fully, GA, which is Google Analytics, is the best bet. And really, Google Analytics is what we'll be leaning on more. And again, for those of you in the Quantum Agency program, Centurion Agency as well, you guys are going to get that entire custom tracking system that we're currently implementing at the moment of recording this video. However, as I say, even though we're going to be using Google Analytics the most, it helps having backup sources in place which enable us to cross-reference. And finally, restructure your ad account for the correct attribution windows. Now, let me talk about UTMs. I want to make this its own slide because this is going to be, honestly, at the point of recording this video, this is the best way to go about combating the issue. So, as we've seen, one of the biggest issues that will prevail as a byproduct of iOS 14 in the current state, okay, with the current resources we've got access to, as I said before, Facebook haven't brought everything out yet, Google haven't brought everything out yet. There will be future solutions that maybe just make iOS 14 completely obsolete, who knows? But in its current state, one of the biggest issues that will prevail as a byproduct of iOS 14 is incorrect and delayed tracking. So this makes it very, very hard to see what is and isn't working inside the ad account. It makes it tremendously difficult to scale and hit numbers that were very, very achievable prior to iOS 14. And it's near impossible to accurately determine ROAS over a 30-day slope, which can impact ROAS deals and ROAS structures that you have with your clients, right? So as of right now, one of the best ways to combat this issue is to dig deep and go all in with the correct UTM tracking. So tracking things from the source to the campaign level inside the source and all the way down to the specific ad content. So what I mean by this is with UTMs, you can basically you can do, as I say there, you can do source, you can do campaign, you can also do medium, and you can do like down to the ad level itself. And so what this is going to enable us to do is by using things like Google Analytics, we're going to be able to see the source of like purchases and whatnot, and purchase conversion value. You're going to be able to see the source, meaning is it from Google Ads, Facebook ads, this or that, right? That's the source. So we're gonna be able to see the source, right? So we're gonna be able to track Facebook. Okay, cool. Now, if you're the only person in control, you're the only source of Facebook ads, your agency, then you're gonna be able to see directly, okay, source is Facebook, perfect, this is how much we generated, right? But also you can see campaign level and ad content level as well. So that's gonna help you identify where the purchases are coming from in order to help you track slightly better. And again, this is one of the best solutions right now, to my knowledge, of combating iOS 14 and being able to track where purchases are coming from, because inside the ad account, it's going to be a huge issue, because also what else is going to start to happen is going to be a huge delay. Even if somebody buys from your ad within the 7-day window, say this buy today, well, then you're not going to see that purchase. It can be delayed up to 3 days, right? 3 days until you see that one purchase come through. So we cannot be optimizing and running ads off the back of a 3-day delayed attribution, right? That's not going to be good whatsoever. So we need better ways to go about it, and going about it in this way is super powerful. Again, if you're in Quantum Leap Ecom Agency or Centurion Agency, I'm going to be giving you guys the exact tracking system that we've built with UTMs and tracking the UTMs and all that type of stuff inside of tracking the UTMs, as well as inside of Google Analytics, how to set it all up and whatnot. I'm going to be giving you guys everything that we're doing right now. So keep your eye out for that. Actually, in a couple hours, I've got the Q&A call, the weekly 3-hour Q&A call that I have with the community every week. So I'll be going deep on that call, and then I'll be also obviously just flooding the Facebook group with resources and all the tracking and all that type of stuff as well. So keep your eye out for that. But finally, basically, as I say, UTMs, that's the way that we're going to go about tracking. So not only will this help scaling the ads that are working and making decisions based on the correct data, but it will also aid ROAS deal structures and show how much profit each month for your clients is attributed to you and your agency. It's going to help ROAS. Now, this is possible because we'll be able to track exactly where each purchase came from. That's the idea, right? However, the issue is still prevalent of that data not being passed back to Facebook, which harms their ad algorithm. But right now, it's the best possible combative strategy. So that's a couple pointers on kind of, as I say, iOS 14 itself specifically. And now I want to go into some more higher level concepts and just overall combative strategies that you should always be implementing, but especially right now with obviously what's going on. So number one is back-end remarketing. Now, as you can actually see in the back, in that screenshot in the back, that is a new 31-day email automation that I've got set up for my agency right now. And you can see the emails in there, like that email on the left is just one of them. So, basically back-end remarketing, especially email marketing and SMS. SMS is more, I would say, for ecom, whereas something like this is going to be so powerful. So lead gen for clients is something that you really want to be looking into, meaning getting people to opt into their email autoresponder and whatnot. So then they've got their email on file, and then they can start to do weekly blasts. They can put them into automations that picks up the conversions in the back end and whatnot. And this is obviously due to the lack of retargeting ability that we now have with that data not being passed back to Facebook. It's going to harm retargeting, right? So email marketing in the back end, SMS in the back end is super important. It's also important for your own agency, right? If you're running ads. So basically this entire email automation, obviously all Centurion agency students, you guys get this imported straight into your active campaign. And the reason being is because it's so important. And right now with iOS 14, as I say, it's very important. So do that with your agency and also with your clients. Start looking at some lead gen ideas. What can you what pop-ups can you do? What ways can you go about getting leads for your clients? Then from there, you can start to look at conducting stronger email marketing in the back end, and also SMS for ecom specifically. You can do SMS for info, but I see it work amazingly well for ecom. Next is to don't be married to one platform. Always put the client's best interest first, right? And so in terms of what I mean by don't be married to one platform, always put the client's best interest first. For example, bear in mind, actually, before I say this, bear in mind, don't think that this is only happening to Facebook. Every single ad platform out there is going to be hit just the same as Facebook's going to be hit. So I don't know why Facebook has kind of been hit with the fact that iOS 14 and Facebook, right? Because it's got nothing to do with that. Like every single platform is going to be hit. However, as I say, don't be married to one platform, because now what it really comes down to is who's got the best solutions, who's going to come out with the best solution. If Google come out with a better solution than Facebook, then don't be married to Facebook. Be willing to adapt to who comes out with the best solution, who is basically going to enable your clients to get the best results. Put clients on a pedestal. Clients are the most important part of your agency, and so whatever's going to get them the best results, that's where you need to be. Don't be married to just Facebook. Now, this final point that I want to talk about is so important. And I don't care if you implement everything I've gone through in this video, every following iOS 14 video that I'm going to be posting on the channel. I don't care if you implement all of that. If you do not implement this last and final point, you're never going to get good results ever. And that last and final point is fundamental advertising. Fundamental advertising is always going to prevail no matter what. So one thing that I've always said on this channel, I say to as I said before, 400 plus students that I've got, the number one thing that I always say is that it's not about what buttons you click in the back end, right? In terms of inside the ads manager or whatever. It's not about what audiences you target, right? That may come off as quite shocking to you that I say it's not about what audiences you target. You know, audiences are huge. Yes, they are. But if your fundamental advertising is flawed, is not right, it doesn't resonate, your offers aren't strong, the copywriting doesn't, you know, just pull somebody out of their day and make them almost force them to buy, right? Because it's so convicting and whatnot. And, you know, genuinely good products aren't in place. All that stuff isn't in place. Fundamental advertising isn't in place. And as I say, everything else, it doesn't matter. No matter what audiences you target, no matter what buttons you click, it does not matter. And right now where, you know, it is, we are very much hampered to what we can click in the back end and the ability that we do have for tracking and detailed stuff and technical stuff. Fundamental advertising is the most important, and it's going to prevail. And it's, you know, it's always been the most important, but right now, it genuinely is going to be the make or break of your ad accounts. Like for example, this morning I had an onboarding call with one of my newest clients, and you know, right, we wrote some new copy for him, and it was very long form, and it was actually for it's actually like an accessory brand, right? So it's very hard to write long form, detailed copy that resonates for an accessory, right? It's very easy to do it for like an info product or something like that, but for an accessory brand, like, it's very difficult. But we wrote 3 pieces that are absolutely killer. I cannot wait to go to market with them. And you know, it's advertising of that nature that is going to win. And what this is also going to do, iOS 14, I'm actually very excited for it, right? I've obviously had, as you can probably tell by the way that I look, my eyes super baggy, super black and whatnot. I've had a lot of calls over the last few days with my team, going through building this custom tracking system that I obviously mentioned before in regards to all students of mine get instant access to. But also we've been speaking about the fact that like we're actually very excited. Like I personally am so happy that actually iOS 14 has happened. Yeah, it's not great. Yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, it's, you know, it's something that we really do need to overcome, and it's going to be tough to overcome. And there's a lot of work that needs to go into overcoming this huge issue. But like I say, I know that first of all, myself and my team, once we do overcome it, we're going to be more stronger than ever. We're going to be able to run even more effective ads, because as I say, what iOS 14 is going to do, one of the main things is it's going to force you to really implement on your fundamental advertising. That's why I've got David Ogilvy on there. He's like the godfather or the grandfather or the godfather of advertising overall, that direct response, long form, super, you know, making copy that really resonates, all that type of stuff, right? It's going to force us to become even better at that than we already are. So that's a positive. And the other thing is that it's going to wipe out a lot of the competition, right? Because the competition right now who are selling clients that could be our clients, right? They're selling clients and they're very much, they don't understand marketing overall. They just seen this person over here, you know, they just seen this person over here make a couple thousand a month, you know, 20, 30, maybe 50K a month. And they're like, oh yeah, I could do that. So they get in, they start selling our clients. And it's those agencies that really burn a lot of clients out there, a lot of brands out there, and this is going to wipe them out. This is going to wipe them out. The only agencies that are going to prevail after iOS 14 are the ones that are genuinely good at marketing. And so that makes me so happy. Just, you know, forget for us to crush competition and, you know, and for us to get to, you know, 200K a month and all that type of stuff. That's amazing. I'm very excited for that. But also I'm just so excited for the industry to finally be truthful and actually provide amazing results for the clients that they work with, right? right now, clients are getting burnt left, right, and center. And it's because of these low-level, terrible agencies that don't know how to market. And they're going to get wiped out. You know, the reason Bax Consulting, which is my advertising agency, the reason our mission is to become Earth's most results-driven e-com and info product marketing agency, and to erase the "I've been burnt in the past," right, conversation that all founders have. The reason that's my mission is because it's something that I believe in greatly. And I know that this iOS 14 situation is only going to aid that vision. And so I'm very, very excited for this time. I think you should be too. I think that it's only going to help those that are genuinely good advertisers. And it's only going to help those that should be in the advertising business. And those that shouldn't are going to get wiped out, and we're not going to see them again. And quite frankly, I'm very excited for that. So a lot of information in this video, but really it comes down to fundamental advertising is going to prevail. Take the necessary and the correct actions to combat this iOS 14. And if you do, you're going to be fine. Like, you're going to be fine, right? And the other important thing is to remember who is in our corner right now. Who is rooting for us to win as advertisers? Google are rooting for us to win. Facebook are rooting for us to win, right? These huge conglomerates are in our corner rooting for us to win, because they make their money, not so much Google, but Facebook most definitely. Facebook make their entire money, make their entire yearly income, right? I'm sure you've probably seen the video where Mark Zuckerberg says, Senator, we run ads, right? I'm sure you've probably seen that video, right? They make their entire income, their entire business is built off the back of us as advertisers. So if they lose us, they lose their business. So we've got them in our corner rooting for us. They're going to be doing all that they can to make sure that we can run ads as successfully as we possibly can. Otherwise, they know that they're going to be that they're going to go out of business. So as I say, we've got these huge heavy hitters in our corners rooting for us to win. They're doing all that they can to ensure that we will win. So I'm not worried. You shouldn't be worried either. And yeah, I hope this video brought some more clarification around the topic of iOS 14. And as I say, for those of you in the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program, and also for those of you in Centurion Agency, keep your eye out for the custom tracking system that I'm going to be giving you guys. And obviously you guys are always the first ones to get updates on this, but also on this YouTube channel, if you hit the like button on this video and you subscribe to the channel and turn on those post notifications, you will also be one of the first people to know about new updates and whatnot, because as I say, Facebook are literally daily rolling out new things, new strategies to combat the situation that we are currently experiencing. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated as well. And also in the video description of this video, there is going to be a myriad of resources, articles, and stuff like that to consume, because those are, as I say, some of the best articles and resources that I've personally consumed on the topic. And I highly recommend you go ahead and do that as well, just to further your understanding on what's going on. And they also go a lot more technical than I did in this video. So with that being said, don't worry, don't stress about iOS 14. Just make sure you take the necessary precautions and steps that you need to do, and focus on that fundamental marketing, advertising, because that is really what is going to enable you to get through this, I suppose you could say, tough time. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.